You want the best possible performance and the best mood and the best mindset anyway, right? And starting off with a 4K once again after Agony, after Oh Boy, and now Sequence on your killer side. It's not like we are writing a list of newer teams that are playing the Ghostface the first time, maybe, where a 4K would be a little bit differently. We are talking about some top names in the comp community, and Timelords has 4K'd them with Ghostface. 3 of these teams in just 7 days.
Hey, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube. We're back with some Lost Souls action from DBE. And if you've been following DBE, you're probably like, but wasn't that back in February? Yes, we had some teams, though, that were in the quarterfinal, or at least we had some players, I should say, that were affected by the stuff going on over in Ukraine, so we postponed it. Once we got to get them back and settled in, though, they did not disappoint. Our first set of our quarterfinal matchup here between Sequence and Millenium was Ghostface on Larry's Memorial Institute. And not only was it a banger of a matchup, we got to see it twice because it was a tie. So I got all 4 trials here for you. I hope y'all enjoy. I know y'all want to sit here and listen to me talk, so let's go ahead and get right down into the video. Don't forget, though, if y'all enjoy the content, do me a favor. Leave a like and a comment. Helps us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn those notifications on so we can catch you back here for the next video. All right? So we catch y'all back here for the next one, though, for real, with everything crazy going on in the world today. Be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right, y'all, it's your boy Q, signing out.
Welcome in, everyone. Here we are with Ghostface, played from Time Lords. I have to say once again, because in the past week, we have now seen Time Lords playing 2 times so far, and this is trial number 3 for him on the Ghostface. So far, he showed really impressive performances, was able to 4K the teams, and the question is if Team Sequence can make a stop today.
Yeah, and we do see getting found very early here is the ace, getting the very early M1, going to be taking chase. We do have the Ruin and the Undying currently up. That's going to be protecting these gens. So, of course, Larry's does sometimes offer some tricky hiding spots for those totems. It might take Sequence here a couple of extra minutes to look for those. We've also seen more teams recently really opting for the grinding out the gens and not even worrying about the Ruin and Undying, especially on a map like this where sometimes they can take a while to find. And it's interesting, though, Time Lords hasn't really been able to find any other survivors. It does look like, though, we've seen them here. We've got some blood spots behind us. Yeah, that's actually going to be the ace there. So we interrupted the heal location. So now 2 injured survivors, and we might be looking at a down relatively soon.
Down very soon would be needed, though, to get the pressure started. It can be difficult sometimes on the Ghostface, and Sequence so far doing a confident performance here. We have the Ruin and the Undying here, so this is something Sequence needs to take care about in the near future here. But for now, we do hear some gen progress over here, and this is going to be the Claudette maybe trying to commit, maybe unaware of the incoming Ghostface here. Seems to be really unaware, because this was really risky. René, though, with a good saver here on this filler pallet, is doing a good job now, making the distance and playing typical for Sequence. Very careful and very coordinated here, not allowing Time Lords to take over. So even though we have 2 injuries across the board, for now it's a good start into the trial, but this 99 on ace might come dangerous later.
Yeah, it could be really good for Time Lords. You know, you can just keep that there for now. Also continue chasing down the Nia, potentially, who still is injured. She was not able to get reset here, and then you can maybe even save that 99 for later. You know, Ace might not really be aware of just how much of the stock progress that they do currently have. But we've already seen generator number 1 popping, and we haven't seen the Claudette, I don't think, for a little while. So can't help but wonder if maybe we're going to be seeing a second gen getting close to completion soon, especially because we still have both the Ruin and the Undying up, which again makes me think that they're more prioritizing just holding M1 and hitting some skill checks.
Yeah, the time is something we often talked about in the last 2 trials where Time Lord played the Ghostface, right? Because Time Lords was constantly able to keep up the pressure. The Survivor team then became slower and slower, and this in the very end backfired onto them, as Time Lords had the time to go for the individual hook stages. So if Sequence is doing a good job in splitting between the generators and just holding them one, as you say, they might find the needed strategy, and maybe they don't even need to care about Ruin and Undying yet they are cleansing a Hex Totem straight away. So this also offers the chance to bring the Pentimento into the trial here.
Yeah, which we have been seeing become a more popular pick as of lately, especially if you're bringing in both the Ruin and the Undying. That should then in turn give you at least 2 tokens to be able to throw at least one of them up at a time to be able to get, I think, what most people would consider the most important slowdown, which is the 30% slowdown onto the gens itself. And to see here where you actually allowed the Zarina to break away a little bit here, actually going back into our shroud, moving into the middle of our map towards, you know, kind of the operation room here. We're tracking some scratch marks. There's generator number 2 though, and Time Lords is still without a hook state here. So right now, really needing to not only secure it down, but would like to start a snowball even really at this point.
Yeah, the snowball would be great here, and you're slowly setting yourself up for that. We do see Fallen Art get some additional progress here as well. Is already on the 50, so one good lean on a corner here. This is going to be 75 now, so you can also tell how quickly things can change when you have the Ghost Phase, who is really experienced. So 99 on Ace, 90 or 80 on Nia and Claudette there. Fallen Art now moving towards the 99. So René right now is the only survivor that can be considered really safe. And this is going to be Nia caught in the open here, but this is going to be difficult now, the full exposure. And this is going to be a very crucial chase here.
Yeah, because especially if iPick here can really prolong this chase. I mean, we already see about a quarter of the way through it here. We even have a pre-throw of a pallet. Might be trying to... Ooh, I was going to say, I think we already vaulted, so no life available. And that's going to be tough. This is a down here right next to the basement. So even though the first hook might be coming a little bit later than Time Lords was anticipating, or at least hoping for, it is a basement hook in the middle of your map. So you can still kind of keep an eye on it. But that's generator number 3 already gone.
Sequence is doing an amazing job so far. The Ruin also still standing. This is basically what broke the other teams in the past here, having the Ruin still stand. Time Lords today not really able to get the pressure onto these survivors here, because Sequence is just one step ahead every single time. They're leaving the generators early enough. They're exposing or revealing the Ghost Phase before he can expose anyone. They are taking the body blocks for each other. They even get this basement safe here. And even though Nia is going down now, there was some time being taken from Time Lords here, and if the 2 others are sitting on generators right now, that would be difficult for our killer here.
Yeah, the one thing that's at least helping Time Lords right now, we do have the 1 stack of the Pentimento, which is going to be slowing those things down by 30% here. Plus now with another survivor moving in, if they had already been working on a gen, that thing's going to be regressing at 200%. Now a second survivor down. Not really taking any extra time looking around. No survivors around, though, for the pallet save, at least real quick. Onto the Nia. Time Lord should be able to... I'm kind of interested that you don't put this one on the hook right outside, so you can turn around and get the second one before a pickup comes in play.
Now going to be the hook in the basement here. Now Sequence on a run towards the teammate that is down. This is going to be the Ace and the injured Zarina here. René with another stun. This is going to be really important. You don't want to have it down next to the basement here. One survivor was lurking for the save, is now getting interrupted, so they need to rotate back into the map here. And this is going to be a difficult one, as it is the Claudette that is stalked 90% here, but Time Lords decides to go back for the basement. So I think the new strategy is going to be camp into the 3v1 scenario here. Pentimento still in the trial, doing with Ruin a lot of work together here. So at this point,
that one's on you.
That's on me, that's the Ruin, but the Pentimento on its own is doing a lot of work still.
Yeah, I mean, at least you do still have that. Now also with the Ruin getting cleansed, if they happen to go over and cleanse your Pentimento, you still are going to have 1 more stack that you can throw up whenever you feel is needed here, because that's going to be the first stack of the Pentimento getting cleansed there, as we do now turn this into a 3v1. Looks like Time Lord is actually going to opt to put that thing up right away, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you would almost maybe try and inspect your gens first and see if maybe you can throw it up not right after someone was just there breaking it, because I feel like that location is going to be rather like ingrained in their brain. I mean, obviously the comp players are usually going to be able to keep track anyways, but I feel like doing it right afterwards is a really tricky play. But going to check kind of along the outside here. And we're also checking away from our gen spread, which is kind of interesting, because I feel like we should be anticipating our survivors trying to crank out the objective here.
We need to see this, because right now we are kinda in the difficulty for Agony and for Team Oh Boy. We have seen a few days ago where the match is slowing down, and the slowdown is pretty much always going into the killer's favor, because resources are removed from the trial, more chances to stalk, catch someone in the dead zone, and especially against the ghost phase, mistakes can happen or surprises can happen. So every single second we spend longer and longer in this trial here is in the end going to favor Team Millenium.
And we do see here broke away from the one chase, also seeing our Pentimento broken here. But with that being the case, oh, I see. That's what I was wondering, if that was going to be a risk, because we did have the second player down there. But we do now have a stock on both the Claudette and the Zarina here, so we can kind of make some plays still within the Shroud here as well. So that does mean that neither of these survivors have a red stain or anything like that that they can work with to try and be any identifiers to avoid the M1. And that's going to be Nia going down here inside the bathroom. The question is Claudette close? And if not, how far away is the ace?
Yeah, this is going to be the important question here. Ace and Claudette. Claudette probably just hiding for now. Ace needs to be careful as well. So both of them not in the best spot. So what you need to do right now is kind of meeting up, going for the reset on Ace at least, but this would take time again, and this time is slowly running out of Team Sequence here. I'm just going to say it's really impressive how Team Sequence was knocking out the first 3 generators, and we said like, wow, this is one hook stage so far. This looks really big. And now we are on the same amount of generators, but we have 3 additional stages coming in and way more pressure together with the 3v1 scenario here. So Time Lords was almost able to freeze the entire game here.
Yeah, Time Lords has done a phenomenal job of slowing this down, especially against a team that we know is, had some very impressive performances on the Survivor side thus far, really in the history. And when you talk about it here, look again, such good control on our stock progress. And instead of just going and pursuing chase there, going to go ahead and keep the Shroud. That way, Ace, who's one shot, doesn't know which direction Time Lords is coming from. So right now, definitely going to have to be playing a little bit more aware. Probably isn't going to be spending too much time committing to a gen. Probably at this point, working their way for, as you had said, oh, this is the ace.
It's not there, so this is going to be the down, and there's another survivor getting located here. So that also means we have only one survivor on the generators right now. Time Lords can make a decision. He could even go for the slug here. There will be no unbreakable, no decisive strike, so you can play something risky. He's keeping it safe, but he has a lot of information, and most importantly, he knows that he has some additional time here.
Yeah, he's got time here. And you're talking about if he happens to see either the Claudette or the Zarina moving in for the save, they'll be able to be one-shot downable pretty quick, as long as we haven't already been broken out of our Shroud, and that's on cooldown. I mean, we're probably going to see Time Lords try and play this patient here. The Shroud available. Now the Zarina really close to being exposed as well. Oh, this is big. You got the down here now onto the Zarina. It could be an easy trade in the 1-for-1. I think that's the right decision, but kind of like earlier, right? Now we're going to have Ace somewhere within the trial injured. We're going to have Ghostface here, should have his Shroud back by the time that you get this hookup in the basement here as well. And Claudette is also very close to being down on the ground, because they're just on the verge of being stalked.
This is now going to be the second stage onto our basement hook survivor here. So we're moving into a 2v1, maybe not too far away. And this would be really, really difficult at this point because the pressure is going to tremendously drop at that point. And at this point, you might want to have an additional generator here just in order to make the win condition a little bit more difficult. Maybe playing a 3-gen as far as this is possible on Larry's. There's going to be generator number 4, so Sequence knocked that out, would force Millennium into a win condition where they need all generators. Now it's going to be the difficult question: are you going in for the save here? You shouldn't. I hope Claudette is aware that she is stalked 99 here, so potentially either going for a reset or just trying to get the last generator out as quick as possible.
Yeah, I think the tough thing, though, is if we've at least walked by 2 of the 3 gens that are left up, and they both had very minimal progress, so I can't help but wonder how close we are to seeing the 5th and final gen, because even that would be really big, because then you're actually would be forcing our survivors coming out in the next round and need to get stages out, which would be even in a more impressive win condition and need to set them up for. But now at this point, taking the chase with the ace back here by this door. Keep in mind this chase is kind of far away from our 3-gen setup that we do have on the other side of the map. Time Lords here is going to do a quick swing and a miss into the pallet space. That should allow for Ace to be able to make another revolution here. Actually, I think just held Shift W. I think Time Lords just mind gamed themselves.
This is now going to be the switch back towards the mid-map here. You want to make sure that the generators are not coming out too quickly. We have dragged the killer away kind of from the generators, so Sequence doing a good job here, and that tells us that very likely one of these objectives is getting attacked at the moment here. But if the survivor called it out, they potentially left quite early. Here is a little bit of progress, so this might be the one they're working on. But we can see that pretty much every single generator is towards 0 right now. So you have a task of 80 seconds ahead of you. That can be a chase, that can be split into multiple little progress steps when the killer is distracted. But 80 seconds is going to be quite some work.
Yeah, we are going to see. I mean, you had mentioned very minimal progress on these gens. Time Lords trying to stay in the Shroud and spec these. I hope our survivors at least kind of have a general idea of which generators they need to be attacking right now, because I understand them being, very patient and wanting to play a little bit more immersed, staying away from Time Lords, not knowing where he's at, assuming that he's in the Shroud here. But you mentioned earlier, the longer that this game goes, the more it continues to favor Time Lords and getting this thing done before the last generator gets complete, because it's less resources that are to be available for our survivors and everything like that. Claudia should make this window here, though. Oh my gosh, that's like perfect 99 there as well. So at this point, one shot downable. I think we still have this pallet in this middle area. We are going to be seeing that thrown by the Claudette. I believe Claudette had actually just left off the... Oh, no, actually hadn't left out the backside. Was still hanging around the pallet space itself here. Time Lords keep trying to play it patient to wait for Claudette to take the vault through. That way they can double back, and instead gets the connection here close to the basement. This might be a basement hook if we don't go for a slug, but looks like we might just slug.
He's just going for the slug, which is... I mean, on Larry's, we need to mention that there's no offering for the hatch, right? So you don't really want to have this come down to RNG, but you don't have to, because this is the ace getting located in this little room over here. So the final chase potentially going to happen. Keep in mind, no unbreakable, no soul guard here. So there's no chance for our survivor to make a move. And therefore, ace is running some additional seconds, but that should be a 4K on 4 generators done. And we can say, I mean, we don't know the end result of this set yet, but Time Lords for his killer side and his ghost phase was just impressive once again.
Yeah, I mean, Time Lords is proving again why has been such a consistent pick for them here. And I would, we've seen that their survivor side generally are able to match the pace that Time Lords has been able to put out. I think one of their 2 matchups that we've seen here recently, they went from 10 stage on their killer side, like 2 or 3 stages on their survivor side. So if their survivor can do something similar, especially with that word momentum that we use so much, that could be really big to help propel them towards the finals here. Semi-finals, I should say. Sorry.
Semi-final, yeah, against Masters. So, and this semi-final is happening later today. So you want the best possible performance and the best mood and the best mindset anyway, right? And starting off with a 4K once again after Agony, after Oh Boy, and now Sequence on your killer side. It's not like we are writing a list of newer teams that are playing the Ghostface the first time, maybe, where a 4K would be a little bit differently. We are talking about some top names in the comp community, and Timelords has 4K'd them with Ghostface. 3 of these teams in just 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, really impressive. And then you talk about with the fact that we're going to be seeing, you know, a little bit of a rework on him too. People might need to start making sure they're picking up Ghostface a little bit, making sure they're playing him. Otherwise, I would imagine they're going to continue riding this wave.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, for this one, what we mentioned earlier, but in Blood Moon League especially, I was surprised that the Ghostface wasn't taken from Millennium immediately, because whenever we have this setup, at least one ban is possible. Sometimes you even have 2 bans, as we have a killer pool of 13, but you definitely get 1 ban before the pick phase is coming in. For this one here, I can understand it because we did them in February. We're just rewinding things pretty much, so Sequence wasn't aware, but I do think that Ghostface, as you mentioned, could become a standard ban when you face Millennium.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think especially just because we've seen not only sometimes it's not just about taking away a killer that someone's strong at. It's about because of how widespread the differences are, right? Like we see them not only have such a strong killer performance, but then be able to do basically the opposite on the survivor side, getting multiple stages out. That's just such an easy way to build up momentum. I don't see why you wouldn't be banning Ghostface from here out, honestly. All right, let's take another trip on back into the fog. This time here, we're going to be seeing iPick on the Ghostface after seeing a 4K at 4 gens up, which means you need to at least prevent the 5th gen from popping from the survivors of Millennium here. We do see that we've got the Ruin and the Undying, and you know, it's interesting to see both of our killers, I believe, both stray away from Corrupt Intervention.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, right? Because now we are back on the part where we can't reveal anything.
I know.
Too much.
That's like
this is really painful, but yeah, stay hyped, everyone. Pretty much. But yeah, interesting choice here. The Ruin Undying seems to become quite standard on Larry's Memorial Institute. Very understandable, though. There is a good amount of progress onto the Claudette here, but for the first use of your power, maybe not ideal. So we are going back immediately towards the generators, but the difficulty is now you have a terror radius, so survivors will be notified by heartbeat, and this means that this survivor is already going for the pallet here, but will not be in the best location. You do have the bill kind of pinpointed here. It's going to be Granout, the wonderful blight of Team Millennium, and if iPick manages to keep up the stalk here while pinpointing him, it will be a good move for him.
Yeah, the only problem here is now you're kind of stuck in this very weird situation, right? Because I was going to say we're working around a big pallet space and we haven't thrown it. We do still have the God pallet back behind us if our survivor here, Granout, decides to use it. But now the Night Shroud being back gives us an easy access to the very easy one-shot down. However, there is another God pallet here, and we're going to be seeing both the Undying and then also the Thrill of the Hunt cleansed.
And this is now going to be Granout with the full exposure, but unfortunately there won't be a chase for now. So it's going to be the Fang taking the chase on this relatively strong pallet. We see the same strategy, keeping the survivor in the location and going for the stalk here. We are now on 70, but there's one issue with this strategy. As successful it might be, it's a lot of time consuming, and I'm not sure if Millennium isn't too quick on the generators.
Yeah, I mean, right now you do at least have the Ruin working in your favor, but at the rate that we've already found the Undying as well as the Thrill of the Hunt, I would imagine that we will be seeing Millennium finding that the ruin relatively soon here. We're going to see another survivor getting a whole bunch of stock here. But again, like you had noticed, this is taking time. We're still sitting at 0 hooks, right? We have actually now started progress on all 4 survivors as far as the stalking progress itself, except for at this point now we're going to take the M1 onto the Nia, but instead breaking chase here, which is interesting. I'm wondering if maybe now, since iPick has at least 2 survivors close to full stock, maybe now we might be potentially trying to go for a little bit of snowball. We do see, though, iPick going to set up the first Pentimento here, and it's going to slow down those gens by 30%.
And now it's going to be the rotation over to this survivor again. Now we have Neverfields fully exposed, so this pallet here is a valuable resource, and from here on you will take the chase towards the corner. There might be another one. No God pallet in this hallway over here, and already the survivor coming in. It's going to be Nia taking a hit for the teammate. Feng not even dropping this pallet here. Very confident loop, so you can keep the resource for longer, but this might have been a little mistake here, forcing yourself also into the corner here with the mind games. Now you need some very confident mind games. For now, this is going to be successful, and the time is running out, but it's going to be a huge down over here.
Yeah, that's going to be big because we're still sitting at only 1 gen complete. We do now get to start the process of our hook stages here, knowing that we need to shut our team up Millennium down here before at least the 5th gen pops, preferably before the 4th gen pops. But that's going to be hook state number 1. There. What? Oh, the Pentimento. Right. I was like, what was that just got cleansed? So the first stack of the Pentimento there is now broken. So at least the gens aren't getting slowed down, but Ruin is still up.
I had to laugh there because I had the same question in my head, and I was like, thank God it's not my turn right now. So this is going to be Granout on this pallet here as well. Good run so far by Team Millennium, but same result. The generators are kind of slowed down at this point. First generator came out quite quickly. They took hits for each other. They prevented the downs when they were exposed, but the progress is a little bit difficult right here. And this was a beautiful mind game by iPick, putting the survivor down. So if he keeps up this speed where he gets the exposure downs right now, he will actually take maybe a lot of stages here.
Yeah, I mean, especially now, this is going to be another fresh hook here. Going to be coming in, trying to make our way to the basement here. I think we should... Oh, wait a minute. There's a protection hit. Was that maybe a breakout potential play? Oh, no breakout. Okay, so we're not going to at least get the save as far as right away onto the bill. And we did give another injury up, which might not seem big, but that's not going to be much distance that the Nia's going to be able to make. We see iPick, though, instead of continuing to follow the tracks there, instead goes into the Night Shroud. Is going to be checking up on these gens, as well as throwing up another stack of that Pentimento here, which is going to, slow those gens again down by 30%.
Oh, another down, another hit coming in here. So we have 2 injuries now and the basement hook. And this limits the potential rescuers, right? It's only the Claudette. And looking onto Claudette's stalk progress here, that's also not really a survivor you can consider being safe for an incoming unhook here. So it is going to be quite difficult. Next Hex Totem leaving the trial. That was another stack of Pentimento here. So it is going to be difficult when you constantly lose your extra slowdown, but the Hex Ruin is still standing, and the Hex Ruin is also in a beautiful position right next to the basement here. So right now you can basically guard 2 objectives in 1.
Yeah, this is interesting here, and I'm sure part of it is because iPick knew they had to shut this thing down before moving into the end game, right? As far as with the win condition, otherwise we might be seeing like an end game perk as far as for this 4th slot. But by bringing in the Thrill of the Hunt, even though Ruin is still up, you've been able to throw up 2 different stacks of Pentimento, which gives your survivors another objective that they've had to complete. This game's pretty well moved to a standstill here while we have a basement hook. I mean, we saw that we were interrupting, I think that was interrupting a reset point over there. We haven't had anybody be able to move in for the save. Ruin's still up, which means it's going to be regressing any sort of gens that did have progress before this whole thing. iPick, honestly, the Thrill of the Hunt ad was intriguing to me at first, but I'm really liking how it's playing out.
I do as well. He is doing a wonderful job so far. Now he has the 3-1 scenario as well, which is really what you're looking for. Mind games again onto the Nia here. He's super confident with that. And at this point, we could say, hey, it's only 3 additional generators for Team Millennium, but I also think for Team Sequence right now, they still have to repair 3 additional generators. And if we put it this way, it also shows how good the pressure of iPick is, and we can really see the Hex Ruin doing so much work for him. He will be able to kind of stand in this mid room, have the generator regressing down while being close to the Anuk and put some pressure over here. Unfortunately, they just got the Anuk, so you do need to worry about this generator over here. But iPick really with a great control over the match at this point.
Yeah, especially because at this point you can full commit to this chase with the Fang, and unless we're looking at a dead hard here, that is going to be a relatively... Oh, wait, you said no dead hard? No, well, it's a down here regardless. And so at this point, you get the very quick hook, and you can now rotate back to that same generator. However, it did... Wow, actually our survivor's doing a really good job, not only rotating over and committing to get that gen done, but the other survivor able to rotate over and get the ruin out of the way. If our survivors can get reset here and kind of play this thing patient, they can push this back and at least get the 4th gen, maybe even the 5th.
Yeah, this is kind of the strategy we have seen earlier from Team Sequence, I felt like on Survivor side. Unfortunately, then things fell apart, but you don't need to cleanse the ruin if needed. Now they got it, that's really good for them, but if you do force good chases and a constant coordination in your team, you can work around a Hex Totem like this. Talking about working around a Hex Totem, working around minus 30% slowdown is going to be at least annoying though, so this is very likely going to be the cleanse of the Pentimento very soon here, but Claudette once again might be the survivor that wants to stay in the distance while Nia is pressuring the hook, but if they don't get this unhook, that would mean that one survivor was not sitting on a generator, and that could turn out a little bit difficult here.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, especially if the next survivor that you find here, especially if you can catch them off guard, is the Nia. And I'm sure there's probably gonna be 1 or 2 people who are sitting there going, why the Nia? The Claudette's so close to being stalked. But if you can catch the Nia here and get them stalked and on a hook, then literally the last survivor that has to either move in for the save or commit to a gen is also on the verge of being stalked here. However, this is going to be the Claudette. Now going to be stuck with the decision is iPick. Do we M1? Do we just wait for the stalk? Does look like we go for the M1. Does, of course, at that point give the Claudette that speed burst thanks to the health state change here. But I think right now iPick needs to be very careful here because you still have the potential to be able to secure this thing up and getting the 4K at 3 gens. But you had mentioned it. You only need 1 really strong run. And we hear that this generator has a whole lot of progress on it, so we need to keep an eye on this thing. And there's no one over here to at least be accounted for right now.
It's now going to be back into the... actually not going to be the midsection. He's going towards the edge map again. Thinks that one survivor will be over here. And there's going to be the reveal by the Claudette. So you have the injured survivor right here that might need to take a good run in order for Nia to knock out an additional generator. And this generator number 4 would be crucial, right? Because that would mean tie. And then at least you have the chance to re-roll it rather than losing it to Team Sequence.
Yeah, and if I had to guess with Claudette burying themselves in the far corner here, yeah, I was going to say that we have an additional survivor rotating over here. Now it's going to be interesting, though, because a couple of questions. Do we happen to have another gen that has any additional progress? And if it's the case, how much is it? Because if we can kind of stealth things out here, maybe squeeze that 5th one out. It doesn't sound like any of these ones, though, have too much. So right now you have to play things safe. And at least if you can get your other survivor across the way up off of the ground, maybe even get them to safety and get a reset, you can start playing the end game here really patiently.
It would be insane if there comes a 5th generator out, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, I would love to have a tie here, because the ghost phase forces the teams into so much decision making, into so many crucial teamwork moments, into different playstyles on the. It's just Ghostface on Larry's is just something so different from the normal business of DBD comp that I would really like to see it again. Also, since we are in a quarterfinal, I would just like to test which team can stay calm and collected when we just replay the match again.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because we saw obviously on both sides, but in both trials, that we have really not only well coordinated team, but even the match team. So if it ends up becoming to who can maintain the composure, wow. Well, look what we found. I think that's a really big point, and especially when you talk about it being the first set, because then especially let's say if Sequence can pull. I mean, honestly, I don't think we really. After seeing Millennium shut down, I don't know if we were expecting Sequence to really be able to come back and match it. So the fact that you did, if you can run this back and then steal the Ghostface set, you would be on cloud 9 heading into the Spirit set.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is going to be actually what we did not expect on the Ghostface, but it's happening. It's going to be the 28-8 between these two teams. So this is going to be the replay. We just switched the order though. As it's the alternating order between the killer players. So this is going to be Sequence staying on the Ghostface and playing straight again. Do you think that works in IPIC's favor, or would you like to have your Survivor team first?
No, I think here you have the ability to come out, especially because I would imagine you probably also feel like you've caught Millennium survivors off guard. So instead of giving them extra time to kind of regather themselves and just reset up a new game plan for, what's going to be set number 2, but it's set 1.2 or however you want to call it. Now they don't have the extra time. You can just take your same game plan, which was obviously very, very effective, and you minimize their time to restructure anything else. I think this is really good for iPick here. All right, let's take another trip back into the fog here. We're running it back for our first set here in our matchup between Sequence versus Millennium. And of course, since we are running it back, that is going to mean that iPick starts off the set here for Sequence. And we had seen they had a very good way to respond to Millennium's Ghostface. Now has the ability to set the pace here.
Yeah, for iPick, it must figure, right? You just 4K'd Millennium, so basically, just do it again, my friend. But of course, that is easier said than done here. We do have a quick injury for the start. Now going into the stealth, trying to catch this survivor over here. Unfortunately, they have just broken the Undying. So Millennium is quick this time on the Hex Totems, and iPick is not putting in the Hex Pentimento there yet, which is a good decision because the survivor would be immediately aware of where the location was, potentially even being around still to cleanse it right away again. We do find a couple of survivors so far not really able to make the all-deciding step for the pressure, but he is good at interrupting them at least.
Yeah, we've at least interrupted a few people on the gens. Unfortunately, when you look on the left side of your screen, though, I mean, Nia's the furthest progressed here at this point, sitting around 35-ish%. We are now taking chase with the ace, who is able to at least get the blind. It will cause iPick, though, to go ahead and break chase here. It's been a strategy. It's been honestly really interesting to watch both of our killers do here in the Ghostface set, which is very much the hit and run sort of style. And I like it because I think with especially like the ins and outs that you have on Larry's Memorial, our killers who have very good game sense and map sense can really find their ways around the map to be able to kind of sneak up and surprise some survivors here.
Now we do maybe see exactly that surprise coming in. No, Nia is aware of the Ghostface coming in. Actually, the Claudette here. So we do have the 80% stalk right here. So it is going to come down to the question, how quickly can you push it to the full stalk? How quickly can you get the down here? Now iPick switching back again, trying to cut off this survivor over here. I do feel like iPick is going a little bit more for the switches between the survivors, trying to cause a little bit more chaos. For now, though, this isn't really paying out for him.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough here too, because now we're already going to be seeing generator number 1 across the way getting popped. We know this generator right next to us has a whole lot of progress here as well. And even though we do at this point have a lot of our survivors over on the left side, as you can see, pretty far progressed on the stock, maybe might be able to catch the Nancy out of position here with the nice double back. However, 2 survivors breaking out our ghost face, and I'm sure they can probably both assume now at this point how close they are to completion, because we see that iPick isn't even trying to go for any swings, just waiting for the recovery.
Now another injury and 2 survivors on 80% stock progress, but this progress needs to be put into pressure, and this unfortunately not working out. Now you're also forced to M1 the Claudette in order to get the pressure. That means the entire stock progress you worked for is basically gone here, while also the Hex Ruin left the trial very early here. The Pentimental stack is coming in. That's a little bit of slowdown here, but it is huge for Millenium, and a huge difference to the previous trial where iPick actually kept the Hex Ruin for a long time throughout the trial.
Yeah, I'm sure right now the Millennium comms are pretty hyped right now. You know you're in a good spot. You've been able to force iPick to get some M1s to, as you say, basically get rid of any sort of stock progress they had, especially on the 2 survivors that we could assume were very far along as well. So right now we see a full reset coming in here as well. This is a whole bunch of pressure that they're fighting back with, doing a really good job every time iPick goes into the stock mode, able to basically push up into iPick, make it so iPick isn't able to get the stock power while also revealing him at the same time. Honestly, a really interesting strategy.
Yeah, Millennium is doing, looks like a little bit more refreshed starting into this tiebreaker here. We do see now that Ace is coming around, and this is going to be the full expose very soon. But iPick once again switching over for another survivor. Q, I don't know, because iPick was playing a very strong first trial on Killer here. Now he definitely changed the strategy a bit. Is trying to go more something that we have seen from Time Lords. Constant switches, no commitment. And it doesn't seem like it's working out. Do you think it's too late to switch back into the strategy of the first one?
Well, I think right there you were in a situation where you were probably he was at worry of being able to get caught out of the stock and do exactly what we had seen in the previous chase with the Claudette and the Nancy, which was getting so much stock progress and then either being forced to wait for more of the cooldown, or in that case, just go ahead and M1. I think you were hoping to maybe be able to double back, but I think you touched on a very good point. Whereas we see Time Lords breaking chase, but still being very decisive about where they're going. I think right now we're seeing a lot of hesitation from iPick, and that's gonna be something that Millennium's gonna be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, I do think so as well, because they notice it, right? They notice that the Killer has a lot of less grab over the... I mean, we are talking about 0 stages right now with 3 generators done, and therefore you notice that you have a way better control over Sequence Killer right now. You notice that he changed his strategy as well, and more importantly, that this strategy switch didn't work out for him so far. And there's a little mistake though on the side of Millennium here. They are blocking each other, so this is now becoming the first hook stage, and that's going to be some pressure. But iPick needs to capitalize from this mistake from Millennium's survivor team, because potentially he won't get another chance.
Yeah, especially because we did hear at the same time our Pentimento, which was our last stack of available Pentimento, was broken across the map. So all 3 of our exposed perks thus far have are gone. You have 1 perk left here at this point if you're iPick, and you still have to get a lot of hook stages, because you know that this is Millennium's pick, and we know that Time Lords has been very consistent over the last week with this particular killer. You've got to be feeling the pressure right now, and especially because you're talking about at this point in the trial, you've got 1 hook state, they've been saved, and you've got very minimal stock progress across the board.
This is, I feel bad for iPick, because I do think that this second trial here as Killer is also not showing his full potential as the Killer, because we have seen it just a few minutes ago how amazing he can perform, and he has done a change in the strategy potentially. I mean, for sure with a good idea here to be a little bit more aggressive and maybe put more pressure onto Team Millennium than in the previous one. But now this not working out, and now you're pretty much running after a very strong survivor team. We are far away from the 4 generators in the distance, and realistically we also need to mention that the one hook stage we got so far was a Millennium mistake.
Yeah, that's a very good point too, right? Because of course it was from the body block in the position. I mean, really, Millennium has been on top of their game when it comes to this trial compared to the last here, and we're giving them a lot of time here. Even now, we saw the resets across the board. We can assume that they're probably at least split up across 2 different two different generators. There's going to be generators 4 and 5 actually getting done just like that. Now actually forcing ourselves very quickly into the end game, and we're chasing an injured Nia by 1 gate, but that could be 3 potential survivors all heading towards the other gate. This is a decent strength as far as a tile here. iPick needs to be able to make a move. Nice patience though from the Nia to be able to avoid the double back, which continues to allow this distance to be built, and this may just end up being enough time for at least our 3 survivors to be able to escape out the other door.
What Nia is putting up here is so much time for the team, and there's going to be a survivor coming in, but this is going to be the potential no one escapes death here. But iPick doesn't want to down this survivor over here. We do want the Nia, and this is not going to happen as Nia is getting protected, so she is leaving towards the door. Will this going to be enough? Maybe a heal tech coming in, but this is very far away from the exit gate. That can't really do anything, but they are going for it. So, this might be everything. He does get it.
Yeah. Now here's the question though, because you still have another survivor in the trial here. Wait, is she fast? Is that breakout we're trying to run with here? Doesn't think it's gonna work out though. It does look like we're gonna get at least the first hook. It did look like she was fast, right?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and now though we've already been able to get up the ace, but but there's another door, right? I didn't realize just how close our 2 doors were. I did see it, but it didn't really click. But the totem isn't anywhere nearby. You've got scratch marks here. If you could find the Claudette here, she would be in the last available fresh hook in the trial here, I do believe, which would give you the most stages. I just don't know who we're chasing here.
And I mean, I have to say, as much as I get the play from Millennium there in the end game, why, like, it would have been 4 stages, right? After a 4K, and you have Time Lords on Ghost Phase. Wouldn't you trust Time Lords to get 5 stages and keep it safe?
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing is if you just saw how close you're matched up against a team on a set that normally you've been able to create a lot of momentum on, I think you're kind of hoping to do what we saw here. And so now you can get the chance. You break the no-ed. We've got the other door ready. If you can get 4 out here and then still turn around and get the 4K, you're going to be feeling amazing heading into the Spirit set.
That's true, though, that's an important fact here. I do agree, because we need to keep in mind it's Millennium's home map, basically, with the home killer, and I can understand it. It would be a really, really nice move. Now they're going to be forced out, though, so this is going to be the 4 stages coming in, so this is going to be a very different score to what we have seen from iPick in the previous one. We do see now that 18-10. Hello everyone, and welcome back to trial number 4 already, as we had a tie in the first Ghost Phase set. We are replaying it to find out who's taking the first set point, and so far it looks like Millennium is the favorite one here, because Time Lords has a quite well win condition of just 5 hook stages.
Yeah, the survivors from Millennium were really able to come out and set the pace. I mean, honestly, the same way that Time Lords had been able to set the pace in the first portion of the set, you know what I mean? In the first portion of the Ghost Phase set, they had done a really good job, and then now coming out and basically setting it up where Time Lords, I don't want to say can relax, because I think that we understand that Sequence's Survivor Squad shouldn't be slept on, but with the level of at the risk of overhyping it maybe a little bit too much, but the level of dominance that Time Lords has had recently on the Ghost Phase, on this map here, 5 stages, definitely got to be feeling confident.
Now going to leave the survivor here, and we can already see it again, right? The difference of what Time Lords is putting onto the table and what the iPick was able to do in trial number 3. We see 2 survivors on 95 stock. He is switching, breaking away from a chase, but he does have a target and he is getting it off, and actually Zarina doesn't care for dropping this pallet. René with a lot of confidence here. Very nice chase. Now help coming in here by Excise. So really, really good job by Sequence so far.
Yeah, honestly, so far Sequence's survivors have definitely shown up to play. I think they also understand the assignment, right? That they understand they have to come out here, and I don't want to say play a perfect game, as obviously they can give up a couple of stages, but they need to play an almost perfect game here. And we're off to a pretty good start. First down is taking a long time to get to. Now playing over here in this very dangerous corner here. At this point, it's just going to be more about how much time can our ace waste back here, maybe allowing for some resets, maybe allowing for the ruin to get found, as we're seeing right there, which is going to be big because now our survivors can spread up across the board. Simply hold M1. Now with the swing and the miss, again, just wasting more time back here. Going to force Time Lords to go ahead and break the pallet, which now actually gives Ace some distance.
This distance is going to be some great time for Team Sequence to sit on the generators here. We do see the Time Lords keep switching, forces the survivor away from this gen over here. The best case would be finding the Nia, but so far 0 stages. We do see that Sequence is definitely taking the task, the huge task they have here, and making the most out of it. Ruin and Undying also cleansed from the trial, so in very huge opposite to the first set we have seen on Larry's, the survivor teams are now way more efficient when it comes to the removal of Larry's.
Yeah, however, one thing we will want to keep in mind, and I'm sure we'll probably be seeing at least one of those things pop up here. We do see the white outline of the totems, and that will give Time Lords the ability to just swing by real quick and boop, just like that. 30% slowdown on those gens here. Now, of course, the Claudette probably is at least, or whoever broke that totem can probably call out that location. So it won't be long until someone rotates over, but that's still more time. That's 16 seconds by someone rotating over, obviously, plus the time to rotate over. That's time that's not spent on the gens here. And, you know, for Time Lords only needing to get 5 stages, every second is honestly really beneficiary.
It's now going to be the first down, while you know that there's a survivor who's coming in and is not sitting on a generator, and that was actually quite risky. I'm not sure if Team Sequence is aware that Nia and Ace are very close to the full exposure here, because Nia was playing quite risky there. Wouldn't have been surprised if Time Lords would have gone for a slug, but this is going to be a breakout play into the wiggle free. So this is now going to be some time being taken from Time Lords.
Yeah, this is going to be some more time here, especially when you talk about being able to give up minimal stages here. Every second counts for our survivors. We do see Zarina now moving into the library area. We can hear that library gen has quite... Oh, that was Zarina, sorry. The Claudette here moving back there. Now, though, the Claudette is going to go down. Also, we did see the Nia behind us. I don't think they'll be able to get in for that pallet save, unfortunately, but that is 2 gens in exchange for our first hook stage. Oh.
And this is now going to be the... Oh, this is going to be difficult here with the Nia in the office. This is going to cause quite some trouble for our survivor team. She is running towards the window, but this is going to hit, and this is going to be a quick incoming second hook stage, and that means only 3 more to go here. You are getting closer and closer towards that win, and Time Lords must feel really good right now. It's trying to go for the basement, actually. Might be a little bit too risky here.
Yeah, especially because I mean, you know, you've had someone around with the breakout. I think it was the Nia, though, if I am not mistaken here. So with that being the case, oh, but there's generator number 3 getting done, which is going to probably cause Time Lords, yeah, to go ahead and pop up this last Pentimento there. That's going to slow down these gens by 30%, but you have been able to locate the reset location of the Claudette. However, you're not going to be chasing the Claudette right off the rip. You do have Zarina now back to 99. Oh, and this can be big depending on who it is that's coming for this save down here. Because if you can wait things out here, you're going to be trying to at least buy a little bit of time. Was this borrowed time? That's it down there. You're going to have Ace right by here. You've got the Shroud. That's going to be exposed as soon as Time Lords wants to do it. The question is, when do you pop it? We do have a pilot still here, and that's a down as well.
This is now really, really huge, and this is so much pressure across the Survivor team here. It is going to be the carry back towards the basement, and towards the mid room here, where you do have a lot of control over. It's not a lot of way and a lot of distance to all the generators that are located here. You do get another tag over here while they are taking the quick unhook, but at this point, everyone on Team Sequence is in danger. Q, even the healthy Survivor is in danger. Everyone is in danger, and this is going to be a huge down right here.
Yeah, not only do you have the down on Zarina here, but now also taking chase with the Nia. You mentioned everybody's one shot here, and this is not where we want to be playing risky, but I understand the risk at the same time. However, that's going to be Time Lords grabbing iPick here, trying to come through the window. This is going to be the Nia, probably rotated back down to the basement. Yeah, Zarina got up off of the floor, but this is iPick back in the basement yet again here. And that is going to be hook state number 2 for iPick, hook state number 4 altogether, which means not only do you need to get this safe, but you cannot allow another hook state if you're looking to at least get the tie here.
And this is not the situation you want to be in, right? This one hook stage and then things would be over, because Time Lords knows about this. He knows about the pressure. He knows his savior will come in very, very soon. He's also aware that he has everyone injured. So whoever is coming in for the rescue is still going to be in a lot of danger here.
Yeah, and of course with the down being at the top of the stairs, no angle or anything to be able to work with. So that's just going to be a down. So this is going to be hook stage number 5 here. And that will be as far as at least wrapping things up. But I think Time Lords here really would like to walk away with the 4K just to really build the momentum heading into the Spirit set, as the Spirit set is Sequence's set here. And, you know, we did already have to run it back once, and I think Time Lords would just really like to end set number 1 here, not only with the win, but with a nice exclamation mark as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If you do get the 4K here, in best case, you would really, really set Millennium up for a great run throughout this quarterfinal. Ace going to take the chase here on this pallet. This is going to be generator number 5 coming out as well, and this is going to be another down. So Time Lords going on an end game run here, we could say. The question is, how quick will Claudette and Zarina be on one of these exit gates? But even though if you are healthy, you need to take care about the no one escapes death right here.
Yeah, it's one thing that you have to, you only have seen 3 perks so far, right? So you can probably assume that is what the last selection is, especially if you've already been over towards the door and at least have been able to give it a tap and see if there happens to be no way out here. And Time Lords trying to see if anyone was going to be trying to maybe set up for the save, not realizing if our last hooks were getting put onto those 2 survivors, but that's just going to be the 2 out. So that is going to be a set number 1 victory here for Millennium, and to be able to turn it around and have a really good production like down the survivor side, you got to feel good.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you in.